What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back with another video. Sorry for the lack of videos lately. I've been so busy. I'm exhausted. I've been working a lot. My hours have kind of been all over the place, and I'm running a bunch of different things here on social media. But we've got some content to talk about here, and don't worry, I'm still doing more of the stuff leading up to the Toronto Maple Leafs season because we're right around the corner. It's very soon. We're getting ready to see the All or Nothing Toronto Maple Leafs documentary as well. But news came out today. Sheldon Keefe has received a 2-year extension from the Toronto Maple Leafs. But I would like to say first, if you are new here, make sure to like this video and subscribe. I know there's a ton of people that watch these videos that aren't subscribed. I'd really appreciate it. It does help the channel quite a bit. Lots of Leaf videos on the channel, lots to come, more rumors, news, stuff like that going to be happening because the season's about to begin. But yeah, thank you to all the new subscribers and to the ones that have been here since day one. But let's get into the main piece. But Sheldon Keefe getting a contract extension, and don't worry before people are either really happy or freaking out. I have a couple different theories, and I'm wondering if you guys will agree with any of them. So the tweet that kind of broke the news from what I seen was Pierre LeBrun saying, sources say Toronto Maple Leafs head coach Sheldon Keefe has agreed to a 2-year extension. He was entering the final year of his deal signed through 23-24 now. So he was obviously going to be needing a new contract. So the Leafs were like, okay, we'll just get it out of the way now. More details will be on insider trading. So be on the lookout for that. Kristen Shilton also added here saying that the Leafs wanted to remove any distraction of having Sheldon Keefe coach on the final year of his contract, hence the 2-year extension, but it's not really a long one. They believe in him, but it's a prove me contract at 2 years, not 5. So I will unpack that in a second, but I do want to bring up his record. So when Keefe took over for Mike Babcock, who was obviously fired midway through the season, during his season and a half at the helm, Keefe has gone 62, 29, and 12, but the Leafs have been unable to advance past the opening round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Now, this is what I wanted to get to. So the season where Sheldon Keefe took over, I don't really call that fair for him. Even though, to me personally, like still in the back of my mind, I'm like, he had enough time to kind of change the team and do what he wanted, but I was like, you know what? It was still, a bit of Babcock's influence on the roster, even from the GM side. There was influence everywhere, and there were still things that needed to be fixed throughout the season. And then, of course, what we've been going through the last couple of years. Like, Sheldon Keefe hasn't had any normalcy as a head coach. But at the same time, I'm not just going to brush under the rug that the Leafs haven't won a playoff series still in forever. And, we can't just keep blaming the coaches, and I'll repeat that, because I think Sheldon Keefe, while people can say he's been out-coached at certain points, he's also still a very new NHL head coach. If I was to look at this season, I would say this is the year where Sheldon Keefe has to show something, and that's why this is a prove me contract. I think it's better than having the distraction. I really do agree with that. But I think Sheldon Keefe's a good head coach, especially after the disaster that Mike Babcock left the Toronto Maple Leafs that season, which all you got to do is look at individual players. Like Tyson Barrie was much better immediately after Babcock was fired. Like he scored like 3 straight games or something like that. But Sheldon Keefe needed to be comfortable coaching this year. And I totally agree with that. And guys, let's be real here. If he gets fired in the next year or so, MLSE just pays out the contract. It's the same thing with Babcock. They have all the money in the world. So Kyle Dubas is also kind of doing Sheldon Keefe a favor here. That's another theory that I wanted to get into because if Dubas gets fired, more than likely a new GM comes in and they evaluate the coach. They more than likely fire them. It happens all the time. Mike Babcock even said that. When you have your guy, you have your guy. So you want to have the coach that you believe in. GMs fire coaches all the time, and then they bring in their guy who they want. It's not just a Dubas thing, it's an everybody thing. People have their coaches, they have their 2 or 3 guys that they're going to call and say, yeah, this job is for you. I wanted you here, so this is yours. Sheldon Keefe was that guy. I mean, he won a Calder Cup with the Marlies. He's done really well with the Toronto Maple Leafs in the regular season, but he needs to show that he can do it at an NHL level in an entire playoff series. And that 62, 29, and 12 record is pretty impressive for a newer coach. I mean, the team is good, but there was a lot of times where the Leafs were going through injuries or they were going through rough stretches, especially after the Mike Babcock thing. Like, their winning percentage after he took over was like insanely different. They wanted to play for him. From what we've heard, a lot of guys really want to play for Sheldon Keefe. They like the guy. So it kind of makes sense to me for this deal to happen. But again, the 2 years, not 5, is, people are like, oh, well, that's good. Like, it makes sense. It's a prove me contract. Well, of course it is. You're not giving Sheldon Keefe a 5-year deal after a collapse in the playoffs. You're giving him 2 years. Okay, you're a little comfortable, but at the same time, 2 years isn't a lot for us to just buy your contract out. Like, we'll just, like, you'll still be paid by us or whatever, however however it works on that side. We don't care. If you get fired, like, you'll get your money and you're done. Like, we're not giving you 5 years. So there is a little bit of both here. You're getting Sheldon Keefe comfortable coaching, has a contract behind him, but he knows that this isn't some sort of like big contract where he can be like, oh, well, I'm untouchable. I'm fine. I'm not going to get fired. There's coaches that get to do that because their team can win playoff series. So until he does that, there is no guarantee that he's going to be the Leafs head coach long term, and I'm sure he'd want to be. It's good money, I'm sure. Look at the deal that Babcock got. I'm sure Sheldon Keefe's getting a good chunk of change. What I need to tell people here that don't like Sheldon Keefe, and I think as fans, we have made this excuse way too many times, okay? Just go with me here for a second. We have 2 of the top 5 scoring forwards in the NHL last season, Matthews and Marner. We have John Tavares, who any given year is giving you 30 goals and giving you 70 plus points, right? Great captain. We have William Nylander, who was the Leafs' best player in the playoffs last year, over a point per game and 30 goal pace. The guy, and again, if you don't like Nylander, just go look at his numbers. He's a really good hockey player, okay? You have a good goaltender in Jack Campbell. You have a really good goaltender in Mrazek. You have a good tandem there. You have a pretty solid blue line. Morgan Rielly was good. TJ Brody was a really, really good addition. Jake Muzzin is fantastic. Hall, Sandin, Liljegren, whatever. Like, at least you have a foundation there, and the Leafs blue line was good last year. But there's no more excuses for the players. I am so sick and tired of it being, it's the coaching, it's the GM, it's the management, it's Shanahan, it's Dubas, it's Keefe, it's, oh my God, these guys are, no. It's partly their fault. This is a team thing. This is a Toronto Maple Leafs. That logo, the whole thing, from top to bottom. But it's time to start holding the players accountable. It's not just the management. It's not just the coaching. Stop giving the players a pass. Because if it was if I was, above Shanahan even, I would say, listen, you lose this year. You do not make it past the first round. You do not give us something to look at and go, oh, there we go. Now they're on the right path. If you do not do that, Dubas is fired. Maybe Shanahan's fired. And I'm trading half that roster. You build around Matthews and say, forget it for everybody else. I would keep Nylander too. I'd say you even consider keeping Marner, and you have to see where you're at with Tavares, but you have to lose at least 1 or 2 of them. The core 4, you're going to lose at least 2 of them, right? And it ain't Austin Matthews. Hell, it might not even be Mitch Marner. So you might have to consider, hey, Johnny T, we need you to waive to go somewhere else. Who's going to take that contract? Oh, William Nylander, you could trade him. Trust me, you could. But do they want to do that? No, the whole goal has been the core 4, build around them, win. But they aren't doing that. No more excuses. No more excuses. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you are new here, make sure to like this video and subscribe. No more excuses. Peace.